The Ritz Theater, a historic site in downtown Escondido, once known for showcasing the brightest stars on the silver screen. But that success came to a screeching halt, and soon, the once glamorous Ritz Theater was all but obsolete. Owners came and went, but even the best intentions were left unmet.
I've been on the council for 18 years. There have been a couple of ideas that have come forward about let's do something with the theater. But Janie brought a real idea and some plans and a picture of what she expected it to look like, and it's like, yes, she has it figured out.
Janie McGuire currently owns the property, and she has big plans for its future, which include major renovations to convert the theater to a dinner cabaret with rooftop lofts.
This is a community theater in every sense of the word. The concept, the ideas, the historical themes, they all came from casual conversations with local neighbors and friends. So far, the community support has been amazing. These are local working class folks, and it seems fitting that someone from that majority makes this happen.
Oh, I'm confident that it will. The community will get behind a project that has this kind of history to it. It's an old community that's very proud of its history, and when they hear about the project, I know that they'll be supportive.
Established in 1888, the city of Escondido is about 30 minutes from downtown San Diego and 100 miles from the bustling streets of Los Angeles. It's a diverse and vibrant community with just the right mix of small-town friendliness and big city buzz.
I was born here in 1938. It was a village, and it was a village that was actually literally isolated. It was a wonderful place. Again, it was a small town. In 1945, it was about 5,000 population at that time. And today, what we're 150 plus.
It's now home to popular attractions such as the San Diego Wild Animal Park, the Lawrence Welk Resort, the Isoplex skating rink, and the California Center for the Arts.
So we have this wonderful Center for the Arts. It's a cultural amenity, and it attracts a lot of other artists to downtown Grand Avenue. So the artists know that they can come here and find other like-minded people that know that art is important in a community and the cultural experience of our city.
Escondido also hosts community events, such as the Farmers Market, street fairs, and art walks, which promote local studios and museums.
In the few blocks of Grand Avenue, we do nearly 100 events a year. And those events bring tens of thousands of people downtown. So that makes it a really good opportunity for businesses that move into the downtown. They've got a captive audience.
Throughout the summer, the streets of Escondido are lined with some of the coolest cars around. It's for an event known as Cruisin' Grand, and each year over 8,000 visitors come to this event. And when they come here, they pass by that building in the background. It's the old Ritz Theater.
The marquee that once promoted Hollywood stars now promotes community events, such as Cruisin' Grand. The windows are tinted and boarded up, and the doors have been locked for more than a decade. But the community is still hopeful.
There are a lot of people in Escondido that live here that have fond memories of this place. They want to see this thrive. The timing is right, and I think we have a good chance of making this happen.
The historic Ritz Theater made its debut in September of 1937. Audiences were stunned by the new theater's elaborate accommodations.
I remember very clearly going to my first movie ever. It had to be around 1941. I was around 3 years old. I remember I would walk up to the exit door in the alley, and I could always smell the feel of like cotton candy. Sweet popcorn smell, and hear the audience. To me, that was like a big city venue.
Throughout the 30s and 40s, the Ritz Theater regularly catered to 800-seat sellout performances, but the theater's success went up in flames in September of 1951. And the theater was forced to close.
And what I saw was just a total devastation. There was a light dusting of ash over all the seats. There was no roof at all. I knew the theater was totally destroyed. And then it stayed that way for a few years.
Some would argue the historic Ritz Theater was never the same again. During the next 50 years, the theater changed owners at least 6 times and had several different names. Lifelong Escondido residents Chuck and Leona Burrow purchased the theater in 2003.
Well, my wife and I drove by it many times and were curious about what was inside. It just seemed to us that it was historically Escondido, and it sparked our interest. So we took all of our retirement income and bought the theater. It was a dream.
Chuck and his wife spent $150,000 in cleanup and repairs. And every day they learned something new about the theater's long-standing relationship with the residents of Escondido.
Well, when my wife Leona and I were working in the theater one Saturday, an elderly couple came up to the front doors and were looking in the theater. So I went back there and opened the door and talked to them a little bit, and it turns out they used to go to this theater when they were dating many, many years ago. The two of them came down here and they walked down and they counted rows, 1, 2, 3, 4. But then they pointed to 2 seats and he said, "This seat and this seat," he said, "that's where I asked her to marry me."
Chuck and his wife tried to restore the theater and its history, but time had taken its toll, and so had tragedy.
In October of 2003, the theater was literally struck when a utility company truck drove right through the center of the lobby. In fact, these wooden beams are now supporting the structure. And this whole facade is still boarded up, as you can see right here by the lock on the door, as a result of that accident.
I've been living in Escondido for over 13 years and I don't really remember anything happening there. It's trash. You know, it's so abandoned and nothing's really going on, and you know, would love to have something happen.
Janie McGuire is determined to make something happen. She and her husband currently own the theater, which they purchased from Chuck in 2008.
The first time Chuck and I toured the building, my first impression was that it's this grandiose structure that really needed to be brought back to life. You could feel the history, you could feel the memories, and I knew at that point that this is really what I want to do.
Janie plans to renovate the theater into a 3-story mixed-use space. The top floor will have 5 artisan lofts. The theater, bar, and commercial-sized kitchen will be located on the middle floor. And on the ground floor, you'll have parking and the theater's main entrance off Grand Avenue.
This project has the potential of giving back to the community in a number of different ways. It's going to provide between 25 and 50 local jobs. It has the ability to host charity functions. It's one of the few buildings that are left that can become a local Escondido landmark, a true jewel of downtown Escondido.
The project will help revitalize downtown, and the more that it's revitalized, the more businesses will move in, the more people will be on the street, and that generates more tax revenue, and that's better for all of us.
I think it could become an actual tourist attraction, like SeaWorld or Legoland or something like that. North County needs something. There's a lot of people that still live in the area that remember this place. I think that's going to be just neat for them to go back.
I've always been excited at the thought of the theater somehow becoming what it once was, really the place to attend some kind of an entertainment event in Escondido. I think it's got great possibilities.
Walking through the theater now is like walking into some sort of a museum. I mean, look at all this stuff. There is so much history here. In fact, right over here, we have an old soda fountain. And Janie says with these renovations, she wants to keep that old historic feeling, but she does say she'd like to keep a portion of the old movie screen.
We intend to keep the big screen to preserve its integrity, show art films, documentaries, old-fashioned cartoons, but we plan to create a large staging area that can support concerts, live theater, dance performances, conferences, private functions. I personally would love to host a theme wedding or reception, even a quinceañera.
Renovating and refurbishing old theaters has proven successful in the past. In North County, the Sunshine Brooks Theater, the Star Theater, and the Avo Playhouse were all movie houses that successfully converted to live theater.
This theater is such an anchor that if this project came about, it would be very, very good for downtown Escondido, for the whole feel of downtown Escondido, and it would make these 2 blocks come alive.
I really hope that people don't overlook this because it's an old building or it's a weird idea or it's not something that's the norm. That's what's cool. It's not normal.
There's a lot of folks that don't believe that it can happen, but it won't happen if no one tries. I may not get 100% of what I'm asking for through the city approval process or through the funding restrictions, but you have to start somewhere.
If anybody can do it, Janie can do it.